Hello everyone, we shall be dealing with the last spirochete today, that is the Leptospira. These are the objectives that we would be covering regarding Leptospira. Now let us see regarding certain general characteristics of Leptospira. As you have already learned in your earlier lectures regarding spirochetes, that spirochetes are basically spirally coiled helical bacilli, and amongst the spirochetes, Leptospira are thin and very tightly coiled spirochetes. As shown in the figure here, the spirals are quite nearer to each other, and one of the very characteristic feature of this particular spirochete is that it has got a hook end which resembles the rod of the umbrella. Its size is 0.1 by 6 to 20 micrometer. Also, it has got a single endoflagellum which is attached at the pole, because of which it gets a particular translational and spinning motility. Also, Leptospira are obligate aerobes which requires incubation temperature of 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. And a very important thing, Leptospira is a zoonotic disease. Two of the important species of Leptospira are Leptospira interrogans and Leptospira biflexa. Now leptospirosis, it bears much epidemiological importance. So that is the reason we should know something regarding the epidemiology of leptospirosis. The mode of transmission, people generally contract this disease by either direct or indirect contact with infected animals. And the most common animal involved are the rodents, especially rats. Now this direct or indirect contact can occur through splashing of the contaminated water or urine into the eyes, swallowing of the contaminated water or food, and also through the exposing open wounds to the contaminated water. Also, human to human transmission does not occur. Regarding the risk factors of leptospirosis, the risk factors include lower socioeconomic class, rainfall, rice field planters and farmers. Very particularly, rice field planters and farmers are prone to this disease because their legs are constantly under the water, which leads them to the occupational exposure to leptospirosis. The three R's, these are the three epidemiological determinants for leptospirosis, that includes R for rodents, R for rainfall and R for rice field. Leptospirosis is a zoonotic disease amplified by seasonal flooding. You can see here the rice field rodents leading to occupational vulnerability. As I earlier told you that rainfall is one of the most important risk factors regarding leptospirosis. This disease is generally found in the coastal districts where the rainfall is prone to come more. As for example, the coastal districts of Gujarat, particularly Surat, Valsad, Navsari, Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Andamans and Orissa. As you can see here, these places have reported outbreaks sooner or later. Pathogenesis of Leptospira occur in two phases, first and second. In the first phase, the organism enters into the mucosa through an abrasion, and then it enters to bloodstream and finally disseminates and infects various other organs. While in the second phase, which is also called as immune phase, As the antibodies develop, the spirochetes disappear from the blood, and the antigen-antibody complexes, they get deposited in various organs. In this particular phase, the bacilli, they become adherent to the renal tubular brush border and are excreted in urine, also called as renal colonization. Now the clinical manifestations can be divided into two distinct clinical syndromes, that is the first anicteric leptospirosis or mild anicteric febrile illness, and the second is icteric leptospirosis, also called as Weil's disease. Both of them have got both the stages, that is the septicemic and immune stages. The important clinical findings here in anicteric leptospirosis are fever, myalgia, headache, abdominal pain, vomiting, conjunctival suffusion in the first stage, while meningitis, uveitis and rash in the second stage. While in the icteric leptospirosis or the Weil's syndrome, the important clinical findings are jaundice, hemorrhages like pulmonary hemorrhage, petechiae and purpura, conjunctival hemorrhage and gastrointestinal hemorrhage. Also it affects the kidney, wherein the urea and creatinine levels are raised, ultimately leading to renal failure. And these leptospira are present in blood and CSF in the first stage, while it is present in urine in the second stage. And same is the case in Weil's disease. You can see few of the clinical findings: conjunctival suffusion and petechial rash. Laboratory diagnosis of leptospirosis. Regarding the sample collection, as we have seen earlier, CSF and blood should be collected within the first 10 days, that is during the first stage, and urine to be collected 10 to 30 days, that is during the second stage. Now, as you have already learned earlier that in spirochetes, microscopy is one of the important diagnostic thing available. So dark ground microscopy is the microscopical feature available. As you can see here, the characteristic morphology of leptospira in dark ground microscopy, it has got tightly coiled, closely placed spirals and with a characteristic hooked end. Also silver impregnation stains are there. Now regarding the culture of leptospira, there are various media available like EMJH media and Korthoff's media. Now though the culture of leptospira always confirms the diagnosis, but it is quite a laborious thing. So it is not a preferred thing for the diagnosis of leptospira. The mainstay of leptospirosis is serology. As you can see here, the IgM antibodies appear early within 1 week of the illness. It reaches peak levels in 3rd or 4th and then declines slowly and become undetectable within 6 months. While these IgG antibodies, they appear later than IgM, reaches peak level after few weeks of illness, and then it may persist at low level for years. Antibody detection could be done on this basis. These antibody detection tests are broadly classified into genus specific and serovar specific. The genus specific tests available are macroscopic slide agglutination test, microcapsule agglutination test, latex agglutination test, and very important, immunochromatographic test. Also ELISA, wherein it detects IgM and IgG separately. While the serovar specific test available is microscopic agglutination test, which detects the antibodies against specific serovars of L interrogates. It is considered as the gold standard method and also the reference test for the diagnosis of leptospirosis. In this test, the patient's serum is mixed in a microtiter plate with live antigen suspension of various leptospiral serovars endemic in the locality. Then it is incubated for 2 to 4 hours at 30 degrees Celsius and then examined under dark ground microscopy for the presence of agglutination. Also, molecular method PCR is always available. Now, regarding prevention, whole cell vaccine like Spiroglep is available in some of the countries, and the general measures regarding prevention of leptospirosis are wearing protective clothing, covering the skin lesions, not swimming in contaminated water, wash or shower after the potential exposure, cleaning the wounds, not touching sick or dead animals, and also consuming clean drinking water. Thank you.